Hey there, Matt Bowling. I'm trying to do a public speech on minimum wage. Throughout history, we have the concept of economy, which is comes up with different variables, like with supply and demand, price of goods, and quantity of goods. But there's other variables that actually have a big impact on economy, like minimum wage. Minimum wage has been around for about 80 years. It actually came into the U.S. In about 1938 with FDR. A lot of people actually, a lot of big economists think it's a really big, really important minimum wage. I feel like it's really important because that's the bottom level of the economy and pays all the uneducated workers. But with looking through the history of minimum wage, we can see that the reason why it ever even came about was because of the Great Depression. The Great Depression was a time frame that happened October 29th when the stock market crashed and the economy was in the worst it's ever been. FDR was the president at the time, was trying to come up with different programs to help boost the economy. And one of the bills that he signed was the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. The Fair Labor Standards Act actually consisted of it set a maximum amount of hours somebody can work throughout the week and the minimum wage in which we're going over. When FDR originally set this, the minimum wage was at 25%. The 25%, or not 25%, 25 cents, but with 25 cents, it gave people $15 to $16 a week. Hit that.
It's still video breaking.
I didn't know that. Alright. The purpose that he actually ended up coming up with the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 was to make sure that businesses didn't underpay citizens and make sure that citizens also had enough money to get the things that they were needing, like water, food, the necessities. Back then, the unemployment rate was through the roof, and this is one of the programs he ended up trying to use. Minimum wage is actually still around to this day. We use it to this day. It's $7.25 now, and it's substantially bigger than 25 cents because of inflation and cost of living has increased. Inflation, the currently right now is $7.25. The Bureau of Labor actually states that 1.5 million Americans working hourly wages are being paid minimum wage. That's roughly around 7.9% of the working force in America. So if you think about it then, it's about 10% of citizens working that are paid minimum wage. So minimum wage actually does hinder / help out 10% of the population. New York Times says that the average age of a minimum wage worker nowadays is about 35 years old. Back in the 80s, you would see it around where it was the teenagers roughly had about 33% of 33% of minimum wage workers. Now you only see 12% for anyone under the age of 20 working for minimum wage. Due to that, Obama has actually come up with a new concept of raising the minimum wage from $7.25 to $10.10. He believes that this will boost the economy and kind of get us out of the recession that we've been in lately. Issues today with minimum wage is that the big one right now is that everybody's trying to raise it due to the inflation and cost of living going higher. But most people believe that it shouldn't be raised because it would make unemployment rise, cost of living rise, and inflation rise. Unemployment would rise because on the business aspect of it, businesses that have only a certain labor cost will only have enough for a certain amount of guys if they raise minimum wage from $10 to 10 cents. And so the inflation would rise because the cost or the power of the dollar would go down because the price of or cost of living would rise. People that actually are for it, they believe that it would give incentive to the workers who work for minimum wage to work even harder now. It would also encourage spending for them to spend more on goods and to kind of boost the economy. But on the real note, with the issues of raising the minimum wage or lowering the minimum wage, no one truly knows what it'll do to the economy. Econ's just basically just like a weatherman. You're predicting what's going on. To conclude it, throughout history, the economy has a great deal of effect on each citizen in the U.S. And as we've seen through this speech, 10% is affected or being paid by minimum wage. But whether you get paid minimum wage or not, it will still affect you due to inflation, or maybe affects unemployment, or affects cost of living, or maybe encourages spending. Main point is the minimum wage, whether you're wanting to raise it or lower it, is a huge aspect of our economy. I don't know how to edit. Guess we're not getting a good grade on that.
What if it wasn't recording that?
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, it was.